Here we go, here we go, here we go, here we go. It is Markets in the Morning. Let's go. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer, bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Welcome to Markets in the Morning. Today is Monday, March 4th, 2024. This is Markets in the Morning, where we take a look at the price action of the cryptocurrency market, including the Bitcoin price chart, along with the altcoin market, as we get ready for the United States stock market to open up in the next 3 minutes. So we'll take a peek over there at stocks, then we'll take a peek over there at the US dollar currency index, or the DXY, along with gold, precious metals. Lastly, wrapping it up by taking a look over there at any type of financial news and any type of crypto news as we get our day going, in which we will see both of those kind of bleed together, giving reminiscences of 2017 and 2020 and 2021 as once again we make it, crypto makes it to the front page of Bloomberg and CNBC again, as Bitcoin getting awfully close to those all-time highs. Absolutely stunning to see it all the way up here, $65,197 as we get ready to start off the new week. Stock indexes are slightly down this morning. You got the NASDAQ down about 18 points in pre-market. You got the S&P down 12 points in pre-market. You got the Dow down 191 points in pre-market. You got metals up. So gold continuing higher. Gold had a record high weekly close last week. So we got Bitcoin getting back near these all-time highs. Of course, you got those stock indexes up there, those 4.236 extensions. You got gold threatening to go into a breakout. What a moment to be alive. And then at the exact same time, what do you have? You got the total market cap of crypto cracking through the 702 Fibonacci retracement level. Now, unreal. I was here in 2020 during this moment. I went back looking through stuff, and I tweeted about this last night when it happened, because we had the weekly close last night, and then we got through it right when the new week started, and I tweeted out how I remember in 2020 when this exact moment actually ended up happening. It was over the course of the next 3 days that XRP's price rose from 30 cents to 79 cents. So it went up like 160% in 3 days. Once that moment actually ended up happening, I'll kind of give you a little bit of, if I can find it. I've lost it. Where are you? You got to be around here somewhere. Maybe you're here. We're just gonna jump through all of these until we end up finding it. Nope. Okay, I've lost it. Maybe it's up here somewhere over here. No. Yeah, there you go. There's some organization for you. It has completely disappeared off of my charts. There it is. Okay, I have found it, guys. Good news. I have found it. So if you'll notice, like for those who were here back then, the 22.5-cent crew is a very familiar group of people, small group of people who were here back then in 2020 and during September and October and November. As we pulled back down to 22 cents, it was just to kind of, it's probably going to happen. We'll just have to wait it out. It took 90 days for it all to play out. Notice as I'm moving my cursor down here on the bottom of the screen, you will see that the cursor on the top is also moving on this one up in here. You can see that we're pretty much showing where the time frame is on the bottom here to where the time frame is on the top. And you will notice that the second that we actually start cracking through here, over the course of the next 3 days, the price goes from 30 all the way up to, 79? Yeah, 79 cents. And that all happens right here in this moment as we're clearing through the 702 here for the total market cap of crypto. So to see that happening, it's just like, holy crap. Are we knocking on the door of some crazy happening in here? Now, of course, at this time, we've got Bitcoin sitting up there at 65,528, an absolute stunner. As you know, my thoughts on this whole thing up here is that we would, just get up in here, things would start distributing, and then the altcoin market would be running. We have definitely seen the altcoin market running. We'll talk about that here in a minute, how different the altcoin market has behaved now compared to 2020 in that actual run, in these pretty much identical things where we just shoot right back up to the all-time high, and how different the altcoin market is right now. But of course, now the market is threatening whether or not is this going to be a tremendous amount more. The big things, of course, that are sitting out there right now is one, you got those stock indexes up at those 4.236 extensions. And if you caught the video last week, we haven't seen any expansion happen over there in the United States stock market. Now, do note Japan's stock market index just broke into a new all-time high in the last couple of days after a 20-year-long bear market. So that's interesting to see that happening. But we don't have expansion over here in the United States stock market. The Dow, of course, is in an all-time high. That's been a condition that's been required for Bitcoin every single time. It's no surprise. Block reward halving is not important at all. Made that argument for probably 4 years now. But that the stock market is typically the thing. So this is what is very different. If you caught last week's video, we typically see the whole expansion happening in the stock market, and Bitcoin follows right along with that. You do have the Dow here, but you don't have the Russell. So you have a very consolidated market, very similar to like what we saw back in November of 2021, where most of the market topped there in April, but then the market really consolidated itself there in November of 2021 in the crypto market. We're seeing something very similar to that over there in the stock market right now. So as we get near these all-time highs, of course, it's exciting. Everybody's thinking, hey, is this thing going to go off into a new run? We get through all of this. This is exciting. And the next couple of days, my eyes will be very, very, very focused on XRP to see if we can have ourselves a little bit of a repeat in here. But at the same time, what do you have? You have gold at 2,097. So these historically, we have a lot of mixed signals. You have the excitement of Bitcoin back at the all-time high, but you have a lot of the macro missing elements that have proven to be pretty mandatory for Bitcoin to go into something prolonged, right? If you're looking for a similar sized bull run for Bitcoin, you're looking at things to go all the way up to a 4.236 extension. It's just that a lot of those macro elements aren't really there right now for that. So as we get here, you can see like we're working on a fifth wave, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a fifth wave. We'll see how things react if it does slam into the all-time high. I know the market cap's a little bit closer to the all-time high than the actual price chart is right now. But more so, my eyes are really focused over there on that altcoin market because of what we've seen happen when we get through these things. If you caught my tweet that I put out over there on Twitter yesterday, maybe it was yesterday, I don't know. This is such a different dynamic happening in here. We'll talk about this. I can take all this off the screen right now. When we did go back to the all-time high. So in the video I put out last week, I also showed, hey, look, like the altcoin market and the total market caps are all really acting identical to also what we had here into where their locations are, right? They're all sitting in the same spots, right? So, but one really interesting dynamic about the market right now has been how the altcoin market has reacted in this run. So, right, so like back in 2020, we did something similar where just like, imagine, like we talked all about this while we were living in this moment right in here. The famous tweet, the bears will get left behind in epic fashion, and we go shooting straight to the upside. Essentially, it was the same thing as this. This was just more of a flat, right? It was just more consolidated, but really it's the same thing as this that's happening in here. We shoot all the way up, right? But take a look at, what happened with the altcoin market during this time period. So that's what I actually have right here on this chart. So you can see I've highlighted that area for Bitcoin. This is actually this area that I've highlighted right here. So this is let me take all these off so we don't have the circles on the screen. And I will show you. I will make this one, we'll change this one to blue. And that way you'll see that is what I have here. So it's the blue one, right? So if we go back and you look at what happened during that run right there, as it fires back up to the upside, you could see here, the altcoin market was left behind, right? Bitcoin rises 66% to get back to its all-time high, and the altcoin market just gets totally left behind during that time. So I hear a lot of people scream for, Bitcoin dominance should be rising heading into this moment and things like that. And the big argument for Bitcoin dominance is because that is what happened in 2020. Now, my argument has been, well, I think we're just kind of distributing on Bitcoin. We'll go back up into retracement levels, and we'll see the altcoin market do well during that time period. Obviously, Bitcoin's gotten higher than all the retracement levels. But at the same time, the altcoin market is acting differently, in that the altcoin market, rather than getting left behind by Bitcoin, has actually kept up and outpaced Bitcoin during this entire ride. So this is the different dynamic you're having happen here between 2020 and between 2024 is that Bitcoin was the show-stopping event. Others completely left behind during this entire rally back to the all-time high, whereas this whole rally that we've had happen in here, this has been the altcoin market. Here's your altcoin market during the rally back to all-time high for Bitcoin. Here is Bitcoin taking the whole show. Altcoin market gets left behind. You can see all these numbers in here, -9%, -1, 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11. You got like one that's able to keep up in here. Otherwise, Bitcoin's the whole show-stopping event. This is your altcoin market currently during this run. A totally different show, totally different animal, where Bitcoin's really in the mid-pack. So the question remains, is there still some trickery happening in here for why the altcoin market is doing so well in here? It's a completely different animal from first of all, it's higher than I thought it was going to get, but also it's not acting like you would expect it to react if it was going into a full-blown cycle, into a breakout in which it's stealing the whole show. It's not. The whole market is doing very well. So it's a very, very unique time. It's a very exciting time as well. I think the exciting thing for me more is so just seeing that, right? For me, it's always like, hey, look, I'm not scared. I'll buy. I don't care. Get back to the retracement levels. Of course, all my concern comes in the retracement levels that is completely on brand for my behavior. Once we can get through those, then you can start opening up the doors to other things. Today, we've seen the total market cap of crypto get through that retracement level. When we saw that happen back in 2020, we saw XRP fire up from 30 to 79 cents within 3 days. So I'm intrigued by it. But right now, we're going to find out what's going to happen if Bitcoin hits that all-time high. We look like we're going to find out very, very soon on what's going to happen. And fortunately, the market is doing relatively well in this. Again, continuing to keep up with Bitcoin and not get left behind like it did in 2020. So still keeping my eyes open for things of some form of distribution to eventually show up there in Bitcoin. Otherwise, really just sitting on my hands on these altcoins as things continue to go. And hopefully this is the time for XRP at least to be able to shine, as I showed here, once we got through that retracement level. And notice my cursor will move up here as I'm moving my mouse down here. The second that we got through the 702, the preceding 3.5 days, I believe it was 3 days and 16 hours, was a 160% move in there for XRP. I always talk about it, the narratives, all that stuff, flipping the switch, all that stuff, that isn't really the thing that matters for price action. It tends to move with the rest of the market, get the conditions, get the animal spirits alive. This was the technical level that actually caused it to get moving, not a narrative. We've now done it. Taylor says, you keep comparing this run to 2020, but could we just be doing 2017 again? I'm uncomfortable saying we're doing 2017 again, right? 2017, Bitcoin goes from what, like $1,000 to $20,000. So you're asking, are we going to go from $70,000 to... You can't even do the napkin math on that. What's 70 times 20? 1.4 million. I don't know, man. I don't know. The things that I continue to show over there is the elements of the stock market. If this market can prove that the stock market is going to go catapulting way higher, that these extensions are not going to be any issues, that's a different thing. As I put out in the video on Friday, it's completely obvious. It's completely evident. You don't have to believe in fantasies, narratives. You don't have to believe in the romance. The evidence exists out there that every bull run for Bitcoin has been during an expansion in all markets. It has not been due to the block reward halving. So even today's price action completely destroys the block reward halving idea, because it shouldn't be happening without the block reward halving, right? 4-year cycles. Again, it reiterates the thing that we talked about during the last cycle that people don't recognize, is the last cycle was only 3 years. All the technical indicators topped here. It's only 3 years from peak to peak. Now here we are, the same equivalent amount of time. Does anybody realize if you're starting a new cycle right now, again, you're doing it again on a time frame of what?
another 3-year cycle, not a 4-year cycle, right? So, I'm hesitant to say that we could do something of 2017's magnitude when we don't have those other elements there. It's nice to see the total market cap of crypto get through the 702 Fibonacci retracement. Again, while we're in all these zones, it's always just going to be natural caution, concern as we're in them for me, right? Accumulation the whole time period. You know it. You come on here, F the bears, right? F the scared people, F the 12Kers. When we get back into the retracement levels and all these areas and these dangers and everything, it's going to just naturally be concerned for me. It's a third range boundary. These are where rejections can happen at, and I'm going to remain really cautious at them. The thing that you have going for you with the 2017 stuff is the thing we talked all about during the bottom of it all, right? Is that, but you have a couple of things that are different. Like, so for example, this is what we talked about during all of 2022. When we recognized, hey, look, we're printing a deep bear market structure here from the top of Bitcoin, right? We are acting as if we're already deep in a bear market. You don't get most coins to go set new all-time highs during this period, right? All technical on-chain indicators suggest the top of the market was actually right back here, back in April. And then at the exact same time, we did end up having like a mini alt season happen right here in May. Elon Musk, Saturday Night Live, all that good stuff. Then as we go in for our second legs are equivalent sizes to exactly what our falls should have been for our C leg of a correction. We actually nail it with complete precision, right? 12K is never going to happen, blah, 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 right? The thing about the price moving up is it's moving up pretty aggressively with no backtests. But if you are a cycle theorist and believe cycles will never come to an end and they're just going to rampage for forever and macro doesn't matter, even though it has always mattered, if you believe it's going to full new cycle, right? That's your model, right? I mean, that is your model. Based on how the corrections all took place in here, based on how all everything played out in here, that's your model. For me, I have to be cautious here as we are at these locations currently right now. Am I optimistic? And due to this, that has piqued my attention big time. It makes me optimistic. But at the same time, knowing, hey, you got these other things. And it's going to be like this for me all the while we're still in the retracement levels. So, fingers crossed, but just recognizing everything that is happening. Again, you've got gold almost at $2,100. You've got gold at the highest close, highest weekly close in history that happened last week. These are not things that typically happen in heading into expansionary periods for Bitcoin. These are things that end up happening when you go into expansionary periods for Bitcoin. Crashes, these right here are all the breakouts of Bitcoin's new all-time highs in here. This is the opposite. This is a different behavior happening over here. And then, of course, the different behaviors that are happening over here in the markets when it comes to breadth and all that stuff. So we're in, it's not like, if this was 2020, like when we got here, right? Like everything's breaking out. You got the stock market breaking out. You got all indexes breaking out. You've got expansion everywhere. You've got everything flying. We've got 0% interest rates. You have all the conditions to be like, yo, low. That's what was going on when we got back to the highs last time. And those were also the conditions when we got back to the all-time highs the previous two times before that, back in 2016 and 17 and back in 2013 and 14. And it's just a very different environment currently right now than what we've had in the past ones. And again, I was here during all this, making YouTube videos during all of this. You're all welcome to go back and look at all of that. But things just are different this time around than what we've had in the past. So hopefully those things don't become big issues. This is like the most optimistic thing to see happening right here is with the total market cap. So that perks up my interest quite a bit. But now it's time to try to get through the last one. And that's kind of where we're at right now. One other interesting thing that we have talked about a lot on this channel was how 2020 and 2021 did play out, and what we've been talking about with this whole thing right in here, and why we've even been paying attention to that in the first place is that, believe it or not, the whole reason we do this is that in 2020 and 2021, that's the whole cryptocurrency bull run. So you often think to yourself, the DXY has to fall and the bull run will happen during all of it. That is actually what did happen in 2017, but we didn't have that happen in 2020 and 2021. The United States dollar currency index actually was falling all year long, and the giant bull run for crypto did not happen until this whole moment. And that is our entire bull run. Here is November and December. So December right here is December 2nd. Bitcoin breaks out into a new all-time high, I believe. Let's get the true date. December 16th, right? So December 16th is where Bitcoin breaks out into a new all-time high. That happens right here. Here we are in May. That's the end, right? Boom. The whole thing is over by May. So this was really kind of us watching. Here's the bottoming of the DXY happening in here. This is the entire crypto bull run that happens all through this time period. What are we watching? We're watching for those types of behaviors to happen in here. Sure enough, what do you know? We're getting the action to all continue to play out. So we don't have the DXY back down at the lows, which in my thesis is that we would get down here. That would be the end of everything. So there is still some room for some stuff to happen. But to remember, that is how long our whole bull run was. That's what we've been doing by staring at this thing in the first place in here. And the thing is, to remember 2021 and what it was like, you had the crowd pour in at the very end. And it's always the same story. When we get through it, the crowd does believe this is just the beginning. It is just starting. I remember that happening when Elon Musk came in and Tesla, and they bought Bitcoin. That's right. Sold 65% of my Bitcoin in 2021. That was in February. Right, it was at 58K where that was done at. The price was unable to clear through 64, and then we had the cruel summer of crypto in 2021. But the crowd always tends to believe that they are at the beginning of this thing. Well, one second, I'll get this up here and just kind of give you a glimpse of really the extent of this, and you can see that just by looking at grayscale. Hold on one second. Yes, GBTC. Right. This is just starting. What are you talking about? We are just beginning. If you recalled, here is 2021, just to give you a glimpse of time and extensions of things like Grayscale's Bitcoin Trust. The elapsed amount of time in there, that's your whole run, how much time it took. If you kind of said, put it here and something like that, right? That looks pretty good. Where are you landing in right in here? It's like you're in March of, no, it's not like March. What is that? That's April of 2021, which of course at that time, everybody did think it was just the beginning. We were just getting started in April of 2021. And so, this is the thing about markets. You have to go through the wall of worry. You have to go through the climb. You have to go through the really tough stuff, the people who accumulate the lows, go through the Wyckoff accumulation, pick up all the stuff at the lows, right? We finally get into phase E. You get into phase E, and then everybody's euphoric and everybody's excited, and we're never coming back down. But as we get, right? But as we get back into these levels, it's just where all the natural concern for third range boundaries are. And it's tough to go through all this stuff. And the crowd that is here, it's insane. If you look at the number, we have 5,000 people in here. Normally, markets in the morning, during all these periods, markets in the morning is like 1,200 to 1,800. Then, eventually it got to, 1,800 to 2,200 over the last several months. 5,000, right? We're a lot of eyes, right? That's, when the excitement comes in, and it happens to be when we finally get into phase E, just to show you, what we've gone through here, right? This is what we've all gone through. And then phase E, you get everybody pours in, right? So it is at this moment now to see how can we react up here, and can we start seeing the altcoins start to really crank out, which they've done very well compared to 2020, right? Instead of it being the Bitcoin show, this has been the Bitcoin and the altcoin show. No question about it. But, kind of just sitting back, enjoying the show, and then waiting to see if some form of some kind of rejection comes up here. I'm not chasing Bitcoin. I don't have any interest in Bitcoin. Mathematically, I've done all the research on it. I've given all the presentations on it. It's not the thing to be excited about. It's these guys over here and what does happen. And if we do get into a new high in here, even that historically for crypto has been the ultimate moment of absolute crazy action throughout the whole thing. So question is, will this be a 2017? I would love it, but the conditions are different out there. So kind of being prepared for anything. And it's very on brand for me as well to be the guy screaming at the lows. And then as prices get higher, what happens? People become much more willing to take risks, and they're much more willing to buy things when they're really high. And then prices turn over very quickly, right? Prices reverse really fast. And then people get very angry. And so just remember that, prices typically pull back. There's always another trade. There's always another opportunity. But for those, hopefully not for XRP. Hopefully it's go time. So again, for XRP, we went through all this stuff here recently, you guys. Going through all of this, we all tracked this all. It all has played out absolutely phenomenally. Here we go. We get back up to the level. This is what we're looking for breakout levels to happen in here. And then we actually do get this thing to happen in here. And this was the triggering moment back in the past. So hopefully these next few days do turn out to be incredibly exciting. Bitcoiners, I'm absolutely cheering for you. Hip, hip, hooray. Go for it. I'm less concerned about returns for Bitcoin, just what that would actually mean for the rest of the market. So if you can get it, go for it. By all means. I hope so. And don't ever think for a second I'm cheering against you. That's not on brand for the Blockchain Backer channel. I'm always cheering for you. But I think the math will prove the other segment of the market is the place that's going to be the best, because it always has been. So, okay, here we go. Dow, how you doing? Dow has improved ever since the opening. The NASDAQ is down. NASDAQ is down 37 points. Dow Jones down 56. S&P down 4. So not too bad. A little bit down. Winners and losers of the morning. Winners, Coinbase, NVIDIA, and Ford. Losers, Tesla, Google, Apple. Heading over there, the Russell is up slightly today, so it has now poked above what has been this accumulation range for a long period. That is your sign of strength phase. Now the big question is, can it lead itself all the way to actual expansion and not just be a retracement in here with all these other indexes at their 4.236s. So that's an interesting dynamic too, is that these all are up here. You do have a red day, but you have the Russell also green at the exact same time. So we'll keep our eyes on that retracement happening in there. Moving over to gold $2,100. Again, that's another thing that is just different, guys. That is just different from past cycle starts. So we'll keep our eyes closely on that. 2,100 there for Bitcoin. All right, moving over there to news going on out there. Apple has been hit with a $1.95 billion EU antitrust fine over music streaming. Bitcoin tops $65,000 as it nears a 2021 all-time high. Are they turning on the marketing blitz through financial media? Maybe so. Bringing in the crowd. We got a lot of viewers today. This is amazing. If you're all tuned in, please subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. It's the #1 way to support the channel. I appreciate it. SpaceX-backed startup says pre-orders for its $300,000 futuristic flying car have reached 2,850. Okay, what? SpaceX-backed startup says pre-orders for its $300,000 futuristic flying car have reached 2,850. Do you think it's going to be legal to fly around in space cars? Okay. All right, China scraps Premier Li's briefing, breaking years of convention. The annual press conference by the sitting premier has been in place since at least 1993. And Bitcoin marches closer to its all-time high. Israel delays sending delegation to Cairo for ceasefire, and wildfires are igniting earlier than usual. Yes, so everybody does remember, we do have wildfires during the summer. Haley gets first. I know that was a big conspiracy thing last summer. Haley gets first primary win in DC with Super Tuesday. All right, cool story. What the Bitcoin halving means for Bitcoin mining centralization. Bitcoin passes new all-time high in euros as price reaches $65,000. Bitcoin daily withdrawals challenge records as 2 billion leaves exchanges. Bitcoin breaks 60K. U.S. government moves seized Bitcoin and more. Hodler's Digest, February 25th through March 2nd. What the Bitcoin halving means for Bitcoin mining centralization. Solana needs fired answer ChatGPT moment to rival Ethereum, proponent says. Nigerian committee summons Binance CEO over financial crime suspicions. Bitcoin daily withdrawals challenge record. We already saw that. Judge grants SEC's deadline extension on the Ripple case. UK authorities will soon have fewer restrictions when seizing crypto. Is Dogecoin only starting its big rally after 70% weekly gains? Found that very interesting last week. I was going through them and organizing them by top percentage returns over the last 7 days. And that's what was fascinating about this moment and how this has been a different market from 2020. Bitcoin last week you thought was the showstopper, right? You thought it was the big one. Out of the top 100 coins, Bitcoin was actually in 40th place. 39 other coins outperformed Bitcoin last week from a percentage standpoint. So absolutely a stunner moment happening over here in the cryptocurrency market. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get a little bit of movement over there on XRP and some good news. If there's a time for some magical unicorn fairy dust and puppet masters pulling the puppet strings, God, or a simulation to do their work, you're living in it because the total market cap is through the 702. All right, guys, that's how we're starting off our day. One more quick look over there at the United States stock market again. The Dow is down 77 points. The Nasdaq's down 35. S&P is down 4. However, the Russell is up about 1.18%, with your leader being Coinbase, Nvidia, and Ford. Losers being Tesla, Google, and Apple. Yields are up. Long duration yields are up slightly. Short duration is pretty much flat. There you have it. Metals, though, that's the big one. Gold, 2101. 2101, a vastly different price for gold than what we've seen in typical expansions happening for Bitcoin. So keep an eyes on that over there. Otherwise, guys, that's it. How long is that monologue? That's a 32-minute monologue for you as Bitcoin is now attempting to go for a new all-time high. What a surprise. Congratulations to all those who have been here through 2022 and 2023 to get back and live in this moment. It's not an easy challenge to go through all those tough times. We showed up every day, good times and the bad. That's what I would say. Show up when times are tough, and then when things turn around, you reap the rewards. And here you go. Hope you are. All right, there we go. Hopping into the chat. Dilkansky says, "Let's go." Jeff Coolidge, thank you, Dilkansky. Jeff Coolidge says, "Thanks for always being here, BCB. When you put a fib on a coin like ICP, do you start it at the ALT or somewhere else since it was token launch day? Thanks." Yeah, that's a challenge, and especially for something like ICP. Again, like I've written all about those in newsletters, taking a look at tokenomics, where if you don't know this, I do write a newsletter over here on blockchainbacker.substack.com. There is one entire newsletter dedicated to talking about circulating supply inflation and comparing how those did in performance assets back in the previous bull run. Was there an impact on percentage returns that actually took place when the asset rose back up? Mathematically, of course, you can assume that there's going to be an impact. If you held it through a whole bear market and it had 200% inflation throughout that whole time, of course it's going to impact. But even like on a shorter time frame, if we say, hey, like, what happened? How does a return happen? Like, what if you buy the asset like right here, right? Like, if you didn't have to hold through that whole time, but you bought it right there, and then you go, how does it end up performing based on any of that? And what's the clear thing on something that has dealt with inflation a lot is by using the market cap chart of that asset. And for me, when I have something that's like a new coin, like ICP gets launched at the literal top of the market, I pretty much kind of like identify features on charts like these. I'm like, hey, I can identify this moment of when it happened here on Bitcoin, and I can identify that moment when it happened here on the market cap charts. And I try to kind of identify that spot on those particular assets as well, if there's no historical context to go look back here. But if I can like clearly see that moment in time, and the capitulation and everything like that, I can use that as a reference point for my charting of an asset if there's not any historical data to go beyond that. And a lot of times, guys, so sometimes you will not see assets. You will not see their full history here on TradingView. You can also go look. I'm not saying it'll help with ICP, but for a lot of assets, it does. You can go to charts.cointrader Pro. Why am I drawing a blank? I say this thing all the time. Charts.cointrader.pro. This is also free. Charts.cointrader.pro. And there you will find a whole lot more historical data for any asset you're wanting to actually track in here. So it's essentially using the Coinbase, it's using the TradingView API in it, but it's actually pulling all the data from CoinMarketCap rather than like on here. This is pulling it from Bitstamp, or you can switch it over here. You can go look at Coinbase, and like for example on Coinbase, how far back do we go? How far back do we go with Coinbase tracking, right? Coinbase only takes us back to December of 2014. However, we actually get to go back to 2011 when we use the Bitstamp chart, right? But then if we use things like here, we go back to however far back it can be tracked over here on CoinMarketCap. This was a poor example to use Bitcoin. I should have used like some random altcoin. What's some altcoin? Like, oh yeah, here's a good one, right? Like XRP on Coinbase. Like that's all the history you have on the Coinbase chart for XRP due to what happened in 2020, right? This is as far back as it goes. It goes back to July 13th when Ripple won the lawsuit and XRP was deemed not a security. This is now the chart you have from Coinbase. It's pretty crappy. But if you wanted to go like look at the whole history of XRP, you can get that here. Right? So you can go all the way back to August of 2013. So there. All right. All right. Thank you, Jeff. Stefan, I am part of the 22-cent crew. God bless you. Why does XLM always pump before XRP does? It's always so weird at that point. It's like they are married. Well, I've made full presentations on the bizarreness of it. They typically pump at the same time. It is not ironic that the day that it's like, hey, this is the day that XRP has a tendency to pump XLM top of the board. I mean, I don't have the answer for you. I've even tagged David Schwartz in it to say, dude, what's going on, man? Jaxer, hey, Dad, I was trying to follow along with last week's video, but one of my indicators looked all wrong. It turns out I had set it to sarcastic RSI. Thank you, Jaxer. One Balance says, legend has it, hitting the like button adds more fuel to the price chart. Let's go. Thank you very much, One Balance. Hit the like button. Della Dova, hey BCB, can we really use the same metrics for sentiment every cycle? Sentiment, there is no clear metric. Sentiment is a gut feeling. You do not have a number for an actual literal number for sentiment. The awareness of crypto grows with every cycle and has staying power. Thanks, boss.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where you're measuring it to say it's different. You know what I mean? That's the hard part. We have 5,000. I mean, there's 5,000 people in here. And first of all, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. It's a big thing. But these are the things we pay attention to, right? When you see influxes of viewership, that's typically some type of sign, right? That's where things like you say, hey, that's interesting, right? And so I have this opportunity to see a lot of different things that you guys don't get to see from different metrics and whatnot, and to say, hey, these are typically things when things are getting overheated that you're not going to like see on charts, right? Taylor McClellan, you keep comparing. Oh yeah, we already got that one. All right, Black Cat. SHIB has an infinity sign where it shows circulating supply. Does that mean they can add to it and some don't show a max supply? What does that mean? Correct. Yeah, I haven't looked at SHIB, but if there is a potential circulating supply of infinity, that means technically there is no cap. There is no limit. Gaining value says Bitcoin just hit a new all-time high on the market cap. Let's take a look. Oh, it sure did. There you go. Or was it short? Let's take a look. Let's make sure that's right? Let's go back. Because this might, yeah, that might be accurate. There you go. There you have it. You have had, in a very, very brief moment of time, a new all-time high on the Bitcoin market cap. How about that? Where were you? Right here. KLK-VRC. Was the lawsuit price drop from 5 cents to 19 a usual price performance without a lawsuit? No, it was not usual. That was so we could talk about that for people who are just tuning in and saying, well, what was that part afterwards? Where is it? Then this happened, right? If you don't know this, this was the biggest scam of the SEC in the history of all time. Obviously, we get through here upon the break of the 702 retracement. It gets up. Bitcoin breaks through the all-time high 5 days after the break of the all-time high. After a 3-year bear market, the whole market is rallying. Everything is wonderful. 5 days after the all-time high for Bitcoin, the SEC sued. They waited and timed their attack for 5 days after the all-time high for Bitcoin. A timed attack. Holo Spiral said, did you see Bitcoin Cash over the weekend? Any thoughts? Yeah. Saturday was up 58%. I mean, it says GameStop. There was kind of a passing joke when I said that. But look, nice opportunity to sell at a higher price is what runs through my head. Taylor says, not Bitcoin, but the alts ran hard in the spring of 2017 with Bitcoin. Right, so it's an expansion. So it's the exact same thing as 2020. It's an expansion, right? You go through the all-time high, the market expands with it, right? So that's the $1 million question. Is Bitcoin going to go into expansion? And if it is going to go into expansion with the whole crypto market, hip, hip, hooray. But you don't have a lot of elements. And that's the thing I keep pointing at, because if some surprise shows up in here, everybody's in the same camp. I mean, like, you go look around everywhere. Because we just look through the past, right? We say it's very simple, right? Very simple. Like, I mean, anybody could do this, right? We get back to the new all-time high. Boom, it's fun time. We get back to the new all-time high. Boom, it's fun time. We get back to the new all-time high. Boom, it's fun time. I mean, it's a simple thing to do, right? What happens in fun time? Everything goes crazy, right? The thing that I'm trying to point out here is there are differences. And that's what's very staggering and just observable is that there are some differences out there that are different when it comes to things like I put into Friday's video. Do I cheer for it to go? Of course, 1 million times over, I cheer for it to go for it. Because if this happens, everybody in 2022 and 2023 who accumulated this altcoin market, like, the percentages, like, you could have something life-changing in 3 months from right now. Like, life-changing if it happened, right? Do I want to come on here and have 100,000 people watch every one of my videos? Of course. Could I make the clickbait to make that happen? Easy. But the problem is, there are differences, and I don't care. I don't care about the view. I appreciate people tuning in, but I'm not here to do it in a dishonest way or in a misleading way. And to say, like, do I want to come on here and make YouTube videos and say, we're going to the moon? Of course I do, dude. Like, we could all have life-changing wealth, right? That would be absolutely epic. But the thing is, if all the conditions matched, I would, right? If all the conditions matched. But there's some conditions that are different, and I have to point those and say, that's weird, right? Like, that's weird. Like, this shouldn't be happening. Gold at 2,100 shouldn't be happening. The Russell 2000 and us not having expansion in the stock market shouldn't be happening. And that's why I put out Friday's video to be like, look at that. Do I cheer for a 2017 style rally? You better believe it. It would be absolutely epic.
But there's some differences out there that leave me a little bit on the side. And until something like extremely emerges where there is some distribution that happens in here, right? I mean, like the thing that will make it like blatantly obvious and what I pray for, right? The thing that would be just be so epic. And I was trying to think of a really good way to explain it today. Like as I get ready, as I do show prep, I try to kind of like think of things to talk about, and then I'm gonna talk about in the videos and in the live streams, and just kind of like something like this. Oops, wrong one. I don't want that. And the analogy to make once that thing pops up, and we'll use a different color, purple. Okay. Like for a distribution happening, right? And like an analogy is like, I want you to flash back to the best concert you've ever been to in your life. I'll give you a minute to kind of think about that. What was the best show you ever went to and where it was super dope and like you still talk about it with like your friend who like you don't see for 10 years. You're like, hey man, remember that one time we went to that one show and how cool that was? And you remember that moment in the show where maybe you're like an hour and a half into it. The confetti is just raining down, man. And like it is rocking so hard and like you just can't believe it. You're so into it. You're jamming your favorite songs and it's so freaking epic, right? And like then the music ends and they say, that's it, guys, we're done, right? And the show's over. Like right now, kind of equating it to like being like an hour and 20 minutes into the concert. You know, the confetti's just starting to come down. It's getting really excited, and the music's about to come to an end. And then the lights go out. It's quiet, right? And you have a fall that happens in the market. And then the crowd starts chanting, one more song, one more song, one more song. And then, boom, the lights come back on and the band comes back out. The crowd goes wild. They play 2 more songs. Everything goes crazy and everybody's having a really excellent time. And then, boom, it is over. And then the lights turn on. You can see everybody. The show is legitimately on and you need to leave the facility, right? Like, kind of like being like, the confetti is starting to come down right now. We haven't gotten to the encore phase yet, right? And like, so that's really the kind of thing that I'm at right now of being like, hey, waiting for like a moment to arrive where it's kind of like, all right, we're playing our last song. And they're like, okay. But then the phase after that comes where we all cheer for the encore. And in the encore phase, that's where you still get this additional epic rally to continue to happen throughout the altcoin market afterwards into a retrace. And we see that at each peak when we have these things happen in the market, that, you know, the concert is over. We call out, we cheer for an encore, and then we get one more rally to happen into the retracement of the encore, knowing it's really over, and then the lights really go out. And so I think we're still in the phase that the confetti is coming down and we're all still jamming our favorite songs right now. But being mindful of, you know, if there is going to be, you know, if the music's going to end soon, right? And if so, then preparing for the encore and then preparing that the lights are going to turn on and we're going to have to leave the facility. So that's the best analogy I could come up with. I hope it made a little bit of sense. But right now, we're still jamming. We still all have the confetti raining down, and we're enjoying our favorite songs right now. And there hasn't been any signs as of yet that we're having any problems at any of these retracement levels yet, which has been very exciting to see. So I'm having a fantastic time seeing that happen. That is a scary mamma jamma, and that thing broke today. That is exciting. So hopefully there is more, but again, there's going to be people are going to constantly want Bitcoin price predictions and all that stuff. And now we're talking like 2017 style rallying. Oh God, like, you know, we're here. Like, you know, we're here. You know, this shouldn't be happening with gold. There could be a trick up the sleeve. And it is interesting to see how well the altcoins have been performing, right? Like everybody has predicted that it would be Bitcoin dominance stealing the show. Why has the altcoin market done so well so early? Why has it been such a good altcoin market so far? And just kind of keeping those contexts in mind. So if we end up having them say, this is our last song, and then we think the encore is up next, we'll talk about it. But as of right now, this was an exciting thing to see happen in here. But definitely keeping the guard up. As we go up in here, it's not going to be like, it's just not on brand for the channel. I'm not going to be making, epic moon boy stuff, right? Like it's just like people always say during the bear, how you can remain so calm and collected and all that stuff. And then when prices go up, how do you remain so calm and collected? I saw a crypto bitlord post it today. He's like, I got ice in my veins. And I think that's probably what it is. Going through all this stuff, I don't know. I can see my portfolio double and not feel a thing positively about it. Not feel a single thing positively about it. If anything, just it's my brain has been completely programmed the opposite way. Of it gets extremely greedy at the lows, and then as it gets higher, it gets more of that cautious of like, how do we protect it? How do you protect that now that that's doubled? Kind of the thoughts on how it works. And I talk a lot about emotional logs and stuff like that. Not getting sad at the lows and not getting excited in rises. I mean, I'm definitely optimistic to see that. That is just like, that can be a big thing. But there is still another one. And we'll see if it gets through. But definitely intriguing all around to see what's happening in here. Let's see, are you in an all-time high? Is the total market cap in an all-time high? If not, I mean, dang close to it. Definitely touching, definitely teasing it. Very, very interesting, very exciting. Very exciting. All right. Jonathan, hey BCB, could this rally in Bitcoin and crypto be the market pricing in the coming stock market crash akin to the rally before the C19 sell-off? It's fascinating whenever those moments do arrive, and then you see things happen. When you look at past Bitcoin recoveries, like when we look at things like the BLX, Bitcoin has a tendency to essentially break from a range and go back and backtest a range when it is building a strong recovery. Right, that's how all of them have been. Whether you look at the 2011 leading into the 2013 bull run, as it's recovering, it just continues backtesting ranges. When you look at 2013 going to the 2017 bull run, all of them were. Even this next one that ends up happening right in here, right? That range, break, backtest, range, break, backtest, range, break, backtest, range, breakout, go. This is an interesting one, right? Like exceeding and never backtesting range, right? Is there some big move? Sometimes things happen and then we look back on it and we say, holy cow, it had to take all of this, all of that. And then that big crazy event came where that next catalyst occurred and nothing would have happened had it not been for the catalyst, right? Like in here, right? This never would have happened without the catalyst occurring. And then finally the range backtest happens or something, right? Always possible. But that also is another thing that's very unique about the move that is happening in here is that just not even range backtests that you typically do have in recoveries that happen for Bitcoin throughout all of history. So it's very, very fascinating. And again, one of these things too, like a lot of this discussion that you see here on this chart where we have the halving printed in the number of days here, it all leads back to the discussions that also were taking place in the video on Friday. That, when Bitcoin, again, reiterating the halving as not being important. And now we get to do it again. Now we get to say it's the opposite way, that there is literally no consistency with the halving being an event, that it is actually just the narrative. It's just the storytelling to keep the romance going. And that in 2013, the breakout of the all-time high was 90 days after the halving. In 2017, it was, we'll use the day it touched. How about that? The day it touched the all-time high was 180 days. And the day that it broke from the all-time high in 2020 was 222 days. So you go 90, 180, 222, and then now, which the price has not technically hit the all-time high, but we did see the market cap hit it 52 days before. Now officially no consistency. What is consistent? What are we at? 83 days since the Dow hit a new all-time high again, right? Like the Dow, the stock market being the event, being the thing. So, yeah, anyway, a little bit historical Bitcoin talk there for you. Gator gifted 5 BCB memberships. Gator, thank you very much. Chris says, you said the stock market expansion was missing for Bitcoin to hit its new all-time high. That's what was different this time, if it happens. Do you think the Bitcoin ETF could have replaced that specific catalyst? It's no measurable way, right? And if so, would it be temporary? Right? Everybody's gonna speculate. Everybody's gonna say, you don't have to be a genius to say it was the Bitcoin ETF. I get that. The timing of it. I get that. But can you measure it? Right? Nah. I don't know if you can measure it. Also, the other thing is, if it was the Bitcoin ETFs, why are the altcoins killing it? Why have the altcoins killed it the whole time? And then why have the altcoins not struggled even after the ETFs? I remember last week, people were like legitimately panicked, and be prepared for those people. The Bitcoiners will definitely throw a lot of narratives at you that are just not true. Remember last week, altcoins won't be able to do anything because all the money is tied up into the Bitcoin ETF, so it won't be able to rotate into altcoins. Remember that? Last week, how much fear there was over that. It's just not true, right? Thank you, Gator. Tim says, I just want to say thank you for everything. My little 1-month-old sends his love to you and your family. Tim, thank you. And I hope you're getting some sleep, brother. 1 month. I don't miss that. Best, if it's your first child, of course, too. It's the happiest time of your life. You are finally living in a moment where you don't have to be selfish and self-centered about yourself anymore. There's something else in this world that matters more in the world than you do to yourself. You finally have found something more valuable to you than yourself. So congratulations to you on that. But I've already been through a couple of those, and I like sleeping. And I like not changing poop. Yeah, I've done enough of that. I'm good. But congratulations to you, man. I'm sure you are grateful for every opportunity. Jonas Fugalis, thank you, BCV. I really appreciate your effort in guiding us through the dopamine highs and lows. Yeah, right. So everything is a dopamine high right now. Don't ever forget it for a second. We will have the drug will be taken away. Right. There will absolutely, unquestionably be days where you're not able to get your fix. And that is also always concerning too. We do have to reiterate that. Let's reiterate that. When we are moving up at this type of velocity, the market does also, market participants do also learn to anticipate this as being normal everyday action. Here's how long it took us to finally get like that. Like this, and then the market says, the participants believe this is now going to be every day of my life moving forward. It will not be. I will tell you that. Even if it goes firing up, it will not be like that for forever. There will become the periods where it all just stops for a long time. A long, long time. So the people who tend to benefit the most are the people who buy low, and then the people who sell high. Reiterate that again. The people who buy low tend to do a lot better than the people who buy high. The people who buy high are always anticipating it to keep going higher. The people who buy low anticipate it'll eventually turn around, and that the percentages will pan out better in that manner. So, I'm an advocate for buying low. We had to go through all of 2022 and 2023. We went through all the Wyckoff stuff. Anybody who made entries through 2022 and 2023, you're killing it right now. The thing that is always nervous to me is when these latecomers join in We'll see if they push it off into expansion. If they push it off into expansion, maybe they'll get lucky too. But the people who accumulated the lows, you are being rewarded. But Jonas, thank you, sir. Member for 8 months. JJ Jacob, a big A with a B, with overshooting B, then under 4K and C. Was confident that we wouldn't break retracement. However, I have the feeling we need all-time high for euphoria. Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. I mean, right? You know, the thing going through 2022 and 2023 is that, you know, we had to fight the whole time, right? And it's like, look, everybody thinks it's going to go down for forever. But we have to stay down here for a very long time, right? And like the thing is, we can head back to retracements, right? Even if you do think it's going to go way lower, heading back to retracements is the thing you typically do before you end up doing that, right? And that's been the big fight. So the big fight for me has been to get back to the retracement levels. Now that it's getting through them, it's like, holy cow, is there going to be more than that? I clearly see a fifth wave happening in here, but hopefully it keeps going. But I mean, you see that too. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see it all in there. But yeah. I mean, it's astonishing. It's very amazing. Very amazing to see it get that high. Cautious, very, very, very cautiously optimistic, right? And it goes back to those things we talk about: $2,100 gold, you know, stock market at the 4.236, no expansion happening between the indexes and the economy. It's extreme consolidation, right? It's your Nvidias, your Microsofts, your stuff like that. Whereas the 2,000, right, the 3,000 other stocks are not participating in the rally, and that's the thing that is very head scratchy, very head scratchy. But as for XRP, if you want a moment to shine, people, if you want it, if you want the magical unicorn fairy dust, if you want the news to show up, right? The thing of show me a chart and I'll tell you the news. If you want to see the world is scripted, Epic News right now would prove it to you that it's all a script. Now, whether that means that it's a simulation or if it's puppet masters pulling the puppet strings or if it's God's script, I don't know. I don't have that answer on which one it is. But right now would be the perfect time for some killer news on the chart. Show me the chart and I'll tell you the news. All right, Oscar Hernandez says, smash the like button. It's the best way to support. All right, we're already at an hour, so I'm going to try to get through the rest of these pretty quick. I appreciate all of your support, everybody, and for tuning in here today. 5,000 people, absolutely incredible. But we're going to get through it pretty quick here. Thank you, Oscar. Is your expectation for total market cap, excluding the top 10, to still reach the top 350 billion, or has that figure changed since Bitcoin broke the high? No, that doesn't change. Again, like what we just talked about, and you had actually sent this quite a while. This was over a half an hour ago. The analogy I made with the concert, right? Everybody's the music is jamming, the confetti is pouring down, everything is still a party, and then suddenly the music stops, and then we all have to chant for the encore. That's kind of the moment I'm waiting for. And we're just not there. This market has not proven we're there yet. Macho Antonio, I've seen many talk about high demand and low supply in Bitcoin causing this drastic rise. Is that something you really believe? I mean, that's the narrative. There's always a narrative to go with everything, right? On why it is. There's no supply. There's going to be a supply. Here's the big thing that was circulating last week. There's only 40 Bitcoin at the OTC desks. That's baloney. It's a lie. And you even have Caitlin Long sharing that. Like, then you have like people who know what they're talking about, who actually talk to OTC desks, and they're like, this is all a lie. So what the supply really is, there's always supply. You know where supply enters? When the price is at the right place. Price hits the right price point, supply will show it up. And our spot markets that we all play around in, you know, Coinbase, Binance, and stuff like that. There's a lot of supply that goes on behind the scenes that has it. And we don't have the luxury of looking at all of that, unfortunately. We want to act like we do. We want to act like we got it all figured out with on-chain data when it comes to supply metrics. We can't see all of it. Macho Antonio, I've seen many talk about, I already got that one, brother. Thank you. George Alexanderopoulos, thoughts on Bitcoin hitting 4.236 extensions with 1.618 also could be the X and a WXY from a previous all-time high. Like I said, I'm not going to predict how high it's going to go. I'm going to wait for something. Like I've said, like there's just weird dynamics happening in here. There's just weird stuff. And, you know, if I predicted it to be, oh yeah, let's go to 80,000 because that's the 4.2, it was 83. Let's finally hit the 4.236 extension on the price chart now, even though the market cap was the one that did reject it for the end of the bull run in 2021. Now we'll go hit the price chart version of it, right? The actual price, or saying, hey, it's going to do a 2017 style rally or 2020 style rally. I feel more comfortable if we had other elements be consistent with it. And those aren't there. And so, like, if I could see those, I'd be more than happy to do that, right? I just don't see them, right? Like that, this has never happened. Like I showed it to 2030. If you have not watched last Friday's video, I highly suggest you do. Even if you only want to watch, it's a 30-something minute video. Watch the first 8 minutes of it and turn it off. I don't care. Play it on 2x speed and watch the first 8 minutes of it. You will see that every Bitcoin bull run, every expansion of a true Bitcoin bull run has occurred in the event of expansion of the Russell 2000 with the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and Bitcoin breaks out at the exact same time. It's unequivocal, unarguable. There is no debate. It is not an opinion piece. It's not, blockchain backer, your opinion is this. It is not an opinion. It is a fact. And that this time, the stock market did not follow, that it is incredibly consolidated. And the only time the Russell did not go with the Dow during a Bitcoin bull run is when the Russell actually led the way for the Dow, and it was 60 days ahead. Otherwise, the expansions in the market occur at the exact same day. And since we're not seeing that, it's very, very bizarre. Because my view of the market has been what it has always been, in that Bitcoin follows the stock market. And there's a big, giant element missing here. A big, giant element missing here. And gold is acting very, very different than what happens in expansions for Bitcoin. Gold should be getting pummeled. Gold should be getting pummeled. This is both breakouts. There's your 2013. There's your 2017. There is your 2021 bull run. Gold gets hammered. Not happening. What's the answer? This time is different, right? Leading back to the question, is it the Bitcoin ETFs? A hard data measurement to say you can depend on that. And then how do you quantify that afterwards is the question. How do you quantify it and say it's not a trick or a trap? A hard thing. But thank you, George. Oscar Hernandez gifted 10 BCB memberships. Thank you very much, sir. Again, but for the market, like, let's be real. These are typically very optimistic signs, right? To see the total market cap of crypto cracking through a very significant retracement level. And when we saw this happen in 2020, it was very optimistic. And you even saw some assets, including XRP, gigapump afterwards. XRP pumped 160% in 3 days after this occurred in 2020. So, you know, like I said, cautiously optimistic. Lots of elements missing, but you can't argue it. Bitcoin's back at the all-time high. The total market cap's cracking through the 702. There's things to be super excited about. But it's not like past ones where we can just come on here and be relentless moon boys without those certain things there. And I would hope most people who watch this channel regularly could appreciate that I express it in this manner, right? That those things aren't there, so it's weird. Kebab. Hey, man, do you think that alts or Kebab Lover says, hey, do you think that alts are likely to reach all-time high if Bitcoin does? How do you think they'll perform compared to 2021? Love the channel. Thanks. It's a lot of hypotheticals. I really like to see Bitcoin prove it. You know what I mean? Before I could start being like, hey, this isn't just going to be like some like cool rally. And like a cool rally, I mean, for altcoins, is still like another couple 100% from here, right? Like that's a cool rally. But the major question is, will it be a giga rally, right? And Bitcoin does have to prove it, and that the market is going to do it. And I think that's really the thing I'm waiting for. And if we're going to end up seeing something like that, we haven't proved it yet. But that's the first step. That's the first step. So all-time highs, again, it goes back to a lot of the stuff we've talked about with developer activity and the things that mattered in 2021. So it's such a blanket statement to say, will altcoins hit all-time highs? You have to kind of set your expectations. The way I think about it, setting the expectations based on what we saw back in the last one, right? In 2017, 90% of coins were amazing, right? The top 10 in alt season number 1 in 2017, the top 10's average was 70x, with 9 out of 10 of them killing it. 2021 was vastly different, in which it was only 2 out of 10, and the average was like 12x, right? You only, out of the top 100 coins, 17 of them touched the all-time high, right, of 2021, right? That's the number we're like looking at here, being like, look, 17 out of the top 100 touched new all-time highs in 2021. So what was all the consistent data in there? And that's what I've written about in the newsletters, going through all that data to say what were the things that they all had consistent in them or different with them. And that's why we talk all about them. In there, I've gone through all of them in all the data, right? And so will alts? Some will. Some will. The $1 million question is, will it be significantly more from a percentage standpoint of who can go into all-time highs than what we saw in 2021? But will some? I would certainly think so. But to say, will alts reach all-time high? We've got to remember that didn't happen in 2021. Only 17 out of 100 did. Only 17 from the top 100. B, hit the like, everybody. Thank you very much, B, for the support and reminding the likes. CP Nasty, BCB, Bitcoin just broke its all-time high. Yeah, we already saw that one. I'm very behind on the super chats, and I'm at 1 hour and 12 minutes. So there you go. We are dancing. We are dancing hard. I mean, these are things you want to see, man. You want to see that, right? You want to see. Do I not have total? Is this what I just got off of? I did. You want to see that. This is something that actually excites me more than Bitcoin touching an all-time high, but to see the whole market doing this type of action. Because what you don't want, like, let's be real, what you don't want is like what you see in the stock market, like happening again in crypto, like we saw in 2021, where everything is consolidating into select assets. That's not what you want, right? Because that's just distribution, right? That's consolidation into distribution, is to see just one runner. And so to see it's the whole market going, it is a much better case of strength. Holo, yeah, he said, did you see Bitcoin Cash over the weekend? I sure did. What a stunner. Hot Tub Brian, I have childhood memories of building sandcastles with my grandfather until my grandmother took the urn from me. Ugh. Hot Tub Brian, thank you very much. Quentin Underwood, the super chat, thank you. John Oliver, not a big point really, but I was interested on your take. When do we stop thinking of the rest of the entire market as alts? Yeah, and until, I don't know. It's just like embedded in the culture, right? You know when I'll tell you when it happens. The day Bitcoin gets dethroned. Because then Bitcoin becomes an altcoin, right? And then things just change. But we're nowhere near that yet, right? We are nowhere near that event occurring. So that would probably be the day it actually stops. Because do you know what Twitter will do that day? Bitcoin's an altcoin. Bitcoin's an altcoin. Angela says, are you accumulating altcoins during this period? Absolutely not. No, absolutely not. This was my accumulation, right? This was all the accumulation down in here. We're way, way, way past accumulation in this market. We're in markup, right? So no fresh money coming in now. Right? Everything is about, all right, how do I protect some of this money that I'm making rapidly? There's a lot that portfolio value is growing rapidly. More thinking of how to protect it, not double down on it. The doubling down was all down in here, right? And so we go through all of that, right? We get our sign of strength phase. Now we move into phase E, right? So in accumulation, you have all your accumulation phases to accumulate in. Then we move to expansion, right? And we move to markup, right? And then it becomes how to put some back in the pocket. But that's a good question, Angela. No fresh money is entering in. The ghosted dingus couldn't imagine being in a better place watching the market cap get broken. As I was here watching BCB in 2021. Thanks for keeping us level-headed. Hit the like. Let us go. That's right. I can officially say I was here the whole time. Which I was here too. Don't get it wrong. I was here the whole time. But it's a significant day to say I never stepped away. I never ducked and covered and went on hiding or into vacation. We showed up every day. We went through it together. Guys, it was a rough ride. Rough ride. Now we're coming out the other side. And today we get to celebrate that milestone happening right there on the total market cap of crypto. That's a pretty big milestone. Just amazing. And now you go back and you think to yourself, damn, I wish I would have been like, hey, we're going to all-time highs, instead of like pointing to retraces the whole time. Say, look, the prices don't tend to go down forever. We tend to go back into retraces. But dang, even that caught a lot of flack all those years. All the years down in here. Look, we're going to head back to the retraces. No, we're not. Right? Boy, what do you know? What a pleasant surprise. Dorian says, hey, what's your opinion of the Solana chain token Jupe? What price would you target for XRP reentry? Thanks, long-time listener. I don't follow Jupe. I don't follow it. It's not that there's anything wrong with it. I just don't know anything about it. There's so many tokens in this space. It's like impossible for me to follow every single thing. I follow a lot, man. I follow way too much. But that one, I just haven't followed it. What price would you target for an XRP reentry? Thanks. I'm not looking at reentries, brother. Time is past, bro. Time is past. Send it. Yeah, bro. Good morning, BCB. In a bear market, I'm cool, I'm calm, and I'm collective. But I'm in a bull market, I'm on edge. I'm not sure why that is. I hope it's normal behavior. Thanks for your hard work. Yes. It's once you've trained your brain, it's normal behavior. It's better behavior, right? In the end, you're still trying to remove all those emotions, even that one, right? Even when it's rising, trying not to be scared of the rise because you're looking at your portfolio, you're thinking, damn, it's growing really rapidly, trying to still remove that. Look at things logically and watch for elements to appear. But it's, the gambler's mindset is that it just keeps going up, so I buy it and it must continue going up, right? That's the danger. And it happens always after it's been rapidly going up. And that's the thing about it too, is people say, hey, we're just starting. I've been arguing it for the whole time. It's not just starting. We've been going through the wall of worry. We've been going through all of this crazy stuff. And we are 1 year and 4 months into this thing. We're a year and 4 months into it. So that's how you technically look at it, right? People say the bull market is just starting. It's not. It started a year and 4 months ago, right? We're not at the beginning, right? Now, could it get excessive? Hopefully. But we're not at the beginning. And it's better to be in that mindset, because when you get blinded by the greed, right? That's the thing that ends up happening. That's the death of all of us, is blinded by the greed, especially when we're counting our chickens before they hatch. That's typically the big one too. When you start creating this lifestyle in your head of, hey, I have this much, it's going to get to this particular price, and then I'm going to be able to live this life, and I'm going to finally be happy. And then it's not there. And some people set really unrealistic numbers for themselves, particularly the crowd that believes they'll get $35,000 per XRP, $100,000 per XRP, $10,000, $1,000. You're asking for a lot, man. You're asking for a lot. That tends to be the people who probably own, a couple $100 worth, right? That they're going to win the lottery, essentially, right? So, but yeah, it's much more normal and controlled to be more concerned about prices being up, because when you go through something like this and you buy all of it, you're dealing with a lot of trash for a very long time. And many of you guys don't have to deal with the trash that I have to deal with. I have to deal with stalkers. I have to deal with people creating all these different accounts and all this craziness and all the comments and all the crud that gets thrown the whole time. And then you come out of it. And then now it's like, okay, we got out of it. Are we okay? Right? Are things going to be okay now? This is super, super interesting to see. I undoubtedly see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 happening here. But that is super, super fascinating. Super fascinating. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, for example, of how 5 waves happen and conclude an ending move. You even see these on retracements back in here. Right? You get very clear 5, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, excessive ending, right? Consolidation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ending. Right? Consolidation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that doesn't mean the top is here right now. But whew, what a moment. Time for the rest to go. Oh gosh, SuperTube says, what's your expectation after the halving? The halving is a non-event. Plain and simple. Fairy tale land romance narrative. God, honest, truth, opinion. I've shown it with so much data. It is just a fairy tale. And I really do believe that. And people think I'm being a jerk when I say that. And it's like, no, here's all the data why. No, it's not acceptable. I don't, whatever happens, people will either credit the narrative or blame the narrative. You have to understand how the narrative works, right? So when we get through the narrative, we get through the halving, right? If price dumps, what will they call it? The post-halving dump. If price rises, what will they call it? See, this is what the effect of the halving does. So no matter what, both sides are covered for the halving narrative. You know what I mean? Anybody who's been around for a long time knows that. The price tends to dump afterwards. But if price rises, they will credit the halving. You have both sides covered. David says, just in, Bitcoin Cash is the real Bitcoin. Hey, welcome to 2017. If you don't know that. It was wild. Bitcoin Cash went to $3,000 or $4,000, and the world thought Bitcoin Cash was actually the real Bitcoin. What a time. There's certain times to be alive. That was a good one. Macho, Antonio, crazy. I asked about Bitcoin Cash on Friday, and it ran LFG BCB. There you go. Craig Tilbury gifted 5 BCB memberships. Thank you very much. Brandon Hammond says, have you ever thought that maybe the dynamics and supply and demand from the ETF are legit and that maybe we didn't backtest the range due to the ETF? That's the only thing that's different this cycle, Levy. I just can't depend on that. You know, I can't depend on it. What happens if the stock market crashes and this thing does backtest then? Then we say, oh, it did matter. Right?
But then ask yourself, why is it doing it for the altcoins too? That is the $1 million question that needs to be answered. This should not be happening, especially in this, if that was true. If it was really just Bitcoin, that you wouldn't have the altcoin market performing at this level when even in a non-environment like this, in a no narrative environment, where we ran back to all-time high, the altcoin market was left behind and Bitcoin was the sucker of life out of the cryptocurrency market. Wouldn't you imagine that to be true right now? Wouldn't you imagine there's not enough Bitcoin to go around? All the altcoins are just getting lit up and sold off to chase the very limited amount of Bitcoin that does exist? But it's not. So, what is at play? Something. Thank you, Brandon. David says 8 months. It feels like I've been here for years. Thanks for everything, BCB. Exciting times. David, member for 8 months. Thank you, sir. Aiden says, hey, BCB, Bitcoin Cash did a decent run this weekend. What would you say it's looking like next for Bitcoin Cash in the charts? Bitcoin Cash is all up into the resistance levels of where everything is kind of troublesome. I don't know for Bitcoin Cash. I mean, I think we're getting pretty lucky of where it's at. Right. How's the Grayscale Bitcoin Cash Trust doing today? I really wanted to see what that would look like when the market opened. What did the Bitcoin Cash Trust look like? Let's see. 31%. I would have expected more. I would have expected more. By the way, PTW did serve me coffee this morning. If there's been some spice, blame her. Oh no, I'm so far behind. All right. Homesteading. God bless BCB. I got too cautious and went to kick myself for the 1/3 of my portfolio. I sold already and I didn't see this coming. Been buying since April of 2020. Dude, don't ever feel bad about locking in money. That's my thought, dude. The reality is of markets, right? When greed sets in, the people who buy late, 99% of them, if they're coming in here, it's just going to be a rough ride, man, right? Being able to lock in anything after a long period. And sometimes it's with exposure, right? Like I was talking about this last week that I'm like 40% of my net worth is in crypto. Like if it got to like 75%, that's like unhealthy risk for me. It's unhealthy for me. Like just to have that much, like just from a mental capacity, right? They said, don't invest more than you're willing to lose. How about 75% of your net worth? Nah, not really. Am I comfortable with that? No. Right? So if you just got to put yourself at it, I'm never going to tell you when to buy or sell. I'll tell you if I'm doing something crazy. But, like sometimes it's just about personal comfort, right? Like, hey, I'm not comfortable at this point. Like I'm killing it. Like you're up 400% or something, or you're up 300%. And suddenly it represents a ridiculous amount of money, right? Like don't ever, and that's the fallacy of the markets too, guys. Always remember this. I'm going to tell you right now, 99.9999999% of people will not sell the top. So don't put that expectation on yourself because you're setting unrealistic expectations that you think you're going to hit.
And then you're going to constantly be second guessing over and over and over to be the guy to sell the top. And there's a literally 99.999999999% chance you are not going to. So don't put that pressure on yourself. The mighty mustache says the trend looks very unhealthy. Well, it's parabolic, right? So parabolic. Hopefully it's breakout, but it is parabolic for sure. The mighty mustache. We've been playing that game, Taco versus Burrito, which, by the way, I'm very good at. You do not want to play me with that. But my favorite one is my favorite card is mustache hair. That is always Dad's favorite. Brandon Hammond. Also, have you considered that we may see a surge in the NASDAQ and the S&P because they are more tech-based and less interest rate dependent than the Dow Jones? Well, the Dow is already up there, right? Like up with it too. Just it's the reality of it being extremely consolidated. I think TXMC put out the numbers too of the top 100 in the S&P. 54% are not in new highs of the top 100. And then when you just look at ranks number 50 through 100, or ranks number 51 through 100, 74% are not in new highs. And then the further you go down in the S&P, it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse. So it's extremely consolidated into the top market caps. That's just not the same, right? Like it's just not expansion of the markets, right? And if you guys haven't watched the video from last Friday, you think I'm nuts, you think I'm crazy, that's completely fine. But I do beg that you do watch my video first to understand what has happened with all of these runs, right? And this not just being, hey, poke, new high, we did it, yay, okay, that's it. But like for it to be, like lots of people asking, could we do something like 2017? If you want it, you would look for similar conditions. You would look for things to be similar. Now, gold at 2108. That's not things you want to see. Like that's just not consistent with things that would happen. You know what I mean? Yeah, don't ever feel guilty for locking in some money. All right. Andy Philpott gifted 5 BCB memberships. Andy, my man, thank you very much, sir. Oh, the hardest thing is seeing the dog stuff pump. How do you do it, and why it seems retail is not in as per Google and YouTube trends? It was still before retail. Retail doesn't pour into all-time highs. Right? So here's what retail needs. Lots of headlines like that. They need TV coverage. They need it to be on their CBS nightly news, their NBC nightly news. They need it to be on all of their stuff. They need it to be constantly in their face and crazy, and FOMO to kick in. That's what's going to trigger. If you're looking for things on like Google Trends, retail always piles in at the all-time high. And this is a really good thing. Okay. Like I don't know if it's going to happen, right? I don't know if it's going to happen. I see all these warning signs. I keep talking to you guys about the warning signs, right? But I'll give you an example of what it was like. Okay. Cause I was here through all of this. I was making YouTube videos through all of this, made stuff through COVID. We were here through all of it. Okay. What it was like, and it was absolutely insane because these were the price targets that I always had for the bull run in here. And you watched it go, and it was still relatively quiet in the market here. People were excited. It was getting back to the new all-time high, but it was still not like now. Then we broke out. When we broke out, that is where retail got wild, okay? Then they all poured in. And so you watched it go all the way, and then you watched all the crazy. Like, you guys know this, 4.236 extensions, Fibonacci's thing I'm always doing, right? It's no different. It's what I was doing back in 2020, 2019, making YouTube videos, 2020. Fibonacci's, right? Hey, look, this is where we're going. Good times happening. All the retail pours in, and then they all just start buying. And it was so insane. And then you see Elon Musk, and you're like, oh my gosh, we're at my price targets, and Elon Musk is announcing they're buying Bitcoin, and retail is going wild. For those who are here, and if you get that moment, if you get to live that moment and experience that the way I did, to watch how it happens, it's crazy. You can't believe it. You're like, how? Here they all are, eagerly and ready. Would you like my bags? And they're like, absolutely. I will pay you 30x what you paid for them. Like, okay, here you go. It's wild. Kirchmeier says Google has become the official Solana validator, and it will surpass Ethereum in market value. I think somebody paid $5 to shill Solana, guys. All right. Saga City from the Doghouse. Thank you very much. Duke XRP. Be optimistic. I just cashed out 40%. I'm going fishing. I hope it keeps going, but I'm not worried. Thanks. Oh, dude, I forgot I need to go do that. All right, I'll do it tomorrow. It's always a tradition for me. When everything is going nuts and ballistic, like you go through this, like this is where you got to do the work, right? This is where all the work is done. Then it's all like, all right, roar. And that, I always tell that story. There's that moment where I'll never forget way back in the day, 7 years ago, of like fishing and just knowing I didn't need to look at my portfolio that day. Like things were good. And then saying, I'm going to do that again in 2021. And I did. And here we are in 2024. I need to go do that tomorrow. I'll go do that tomorrow. Here's the deal. XRP, you break above 70 cents. By tomorrow, I'll go fishing tomorrow. And I'll do it. Tomorrow morning. Be like, F markets in the morning, those guys. Whatever. No, I'll do it after markets in the morning. Because I always show up. Oh, and reminder, just so you do know, we are getting into the busy season for me. Just so you do know, things get very scattery when it comes to markets in the morning in March, April, and May. So, right, I'll be speaking at a conference in March, which is like 2 or 3 weeks from now. Then the first week of April, I'll be off. And then we'll be good for the rest of April after that. And then in May, I'll be in Las Vegas in the first week of May. And then in the last week of May, I'll be in Austin. So just kind of heads up. We'll have spottiness for 3 months because this is very typical in crypto land. This is like, at least for the conferences I like to go to, this is busy season. So just kind of know that. But Duke XRP, thank you, brother. Very generous. Stash, hey BCB, thanks for everything. Can you wish my daughter, Emi, a happy 12th birthday for yesterday? Well, Emi, happy birthday. Says Daddy Stash. Not to be confused with mustache hair, but stash. Happy birthday, Emi. Thank you. Ninja, rotation into altcoins without market expansion. Are you asking if you should be rotating? I'm not saying that. You think it's Emmy? Emmy. Hey, Emmy, happy birthday. From your dad, Stash. And the blockchain backer. Happy birthday. Bobby says, do you have any technical data on Vara? Never heard of it. SuperTube asked about what my expectations were after the halving. I don't have an opinion after the halving because I don't view it as an event. But I have no question the narrative will be, oh, this is the post-halving dump, or it's pumping because the halving works. No matter what, the halving will be credited because that's just how the romance goes. Eternal Life with a super chat. Thank you very much. No message. SuperTube says, do you think the ETFs will pump and dump? Is this the reason that they entered the market? My thesis has been that JP Morgan has had a lot of Bitcoin that they've been enjoying, and that this is a very sophisticated and complicated way to sell it via an ETF vehicle, as they are in charge of providing the Bitcoin for the ETFs. But we'll find out. We know Grayscale's happy, right? Andy Philpott, thank you very much. Eternal Life says, what's your price prediction for XRP, please? Is it $8 or is it $11? I don't want to get trapped in FOMO, be not selling at the right price. You're looking for a very specific trade call that you're going to hold over my head and kill me and murder me if you don't get. That's what you just said. Yeah. Laddering out is all the thing I'm going to do. We get into all-time highs, I'm going to ladder out. but the area where I will definitely be 65% out will be in the 9s if we get it. Andrew Reed, I've been with you since 2020. I just noticed that SHIB has been on a tear. Do you think we will see DeFi pop off again like we did in 2021? I don't know. So like DeFi popping off, that was a summer of DeFi that started the year before the bull run though, right? Like that started in 2020. So I don't know if you're going to have the same narrative. Like everybody looks for the same narratives to happen over again, but it's usually somewhere where you're not looking. Chris asks, hey, BCB, could certain altcoins with their price action show us the future with this market? I don't know. Like little coins? I don't know. The thing we look for, right? The thing you look for is one, this is something you look for with Bitcoin. This is something you look for with the total market cap of crypto. These are all very, very, very good things. And they're bigger signals than any type of little altcoin. They really are. These are the bigger signals to look for in the market. And certainly, certainly interesting. Certainly interesting. But a lot of the signals we look for too, in regards to expansions and stuff like that in markets too. What do you got? Gold 2108. I mean, we have mixed stuff. I mean, like when you look at the price of Bitcoin, you look at the altcoin market. These are, bam, dude. Like this is what you want so bad. Like absolutely, and maybe, fingers freaking crossed. This is actually being a leading indicator of this, and that would be epic. The problem is, it has never been a leading indicator for any of this. It has actually always been a lagging indicator, and this has been the leading indicator. So that's why it's like, but unquestionably, hip hip hooray. Again, the thing for the XRP holders out there, when this happened last time, it only took 3 days for a 160% rise. Fingers crossed. Chris Zen says, hey, BCB. Oh, we already got that one. Holy cow. That's it. I'm all caught up. We're done. We're done. An hour and 42. I can't do that every day. I don't know how we're going to get through this even faster. Today, we have seen the market cap of Bitcoin touch an all-time high. Unbelievable. Unreal. We've seen the market cap of crypto clear through the 702. That is fantastic. Jeff says, if the real market top was in April of 2021, are we really in all-time highs per se? Well, the technical and on-chain top was 2021, right? The price top obviously was November of 2021, but all technical things put the top back there. But even from, market cap-wise, there you go. You're nibbling away. So fingers crossed we do get it so we can be a little bit more excited. Otherwise, this is the wow. That's the amazing thing happening out there for the whole market. So, okay, there you go, guys. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. Of course, if you're looking for something to do, you can check out bcbacker.com for over 40 videos and 11 hours of content from me talking all about those things you see over there: Wyckoff accumulation, LA wave theory, setting up your own charts and your own indicators within TradingView and CoinTrader Pro. It does even come with downloadable PDFs in here for supplemental content to go with a lot of these sections in here. It's $39 one time, no subscription fees, one time payment of $39. Enjoy an entire day of me. I do write a newsletter over here on blockchainbacker.substack.com. There is a link in the description of this live stream and all of my videos over there. They do come with audio recordings as well. So if you just want to walk around or you want to drive in your truck and you want to put me on and just have me read these things to you, I can. There's a lot of them in here. I've been doing this for about a year and a half, so there should be 30 of them, at least 30. But there's also a lot of good stuff in there on altcoins like development activity and a lot of data on that and how those performances have done, user activity levels, everything like that. So these things, a lot of times with what's going on with market, and then sometimes we're really diving into data to study different aspects of the market. So this has been the big project for the last year and a half. Same with bcbacker.com. All new videos were recorded last year in a new course. But there you go. Bitcoin. Maybe we'll see it today. Maybe we will. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this thing up, you guys. I want to thank you all so much for tuning in. CB says, thank you, BCB and PTW, for all your hard work and dedication. Much appreciated. 9 months to David. CB, yeah, 9 months right there. What if Bitcoin topped the same price as 1 kilogram of gold? Tops out at the what price of 1 kilogram of gold? I don't know. Kilogram. I don't know, man. That'd be something, right? Wasn't it a kilogram last time? That's where it stopped, right? I think that's what happened. Bitcoin price stopped at a kilogram. But okay, that's it. Thank you all so much for watching. If you could, please like the live stream and give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, it's not investment advice, and I'm not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.